Hey guys, Mizuki here. This video was suggested by Guardian of the Rune, one of our Discord members. The title is 50 Reasons to Leave the USA Forever by Nomad Capitalist. So let's go.
There are dozens of reasons that you should leave the United States and never look back. I did it. I don't regret it. Today we're covering some of the lesser known reasons why you should leave. And before we get into more than a dozen reasons, including many we've never talked about before, what's interesting is that the Richard Nixon Foundation recently took a poll where they said, do you think the political system as it currently stands is corrupt? And 93% of Americans said
I agree with that
yes.
too. Yep.
We've been saying that for years. You just had a presidential election where it cost billions of dollars just to be elected president. Forget all the other races. It is.
And you can multiply that versus 100 in my country, please.
Is the most corrupt country in the world. It's just that you can't participate. And the corruption at the highest levels has been legalized. So much so that even CIA spies are saying they plan to leave.
For 7 years, I was working undercover as a spy. And I needed to know how to manipulate, how to live and operate without ever being detected, and how to collect secrets.
And so if you're watching this and saying, why would I leave my country? Why don't we just vote and make it better? Let me remind you, as someone who retraced his ancestry earlier this year, that your ancestors probably left somewhere else where they said, this can't be fixed. We want a better opportunity. We want more opportunities for jobs and to have work. We want freedom, whether it's personal,
really
religious,
true.
whatever
Makes
else.
sense.
Where your ancestors came from wasn't working for them, and they didn't stay and fight. They didn't keep voting for different politicians. They made a list of the things they didn't like, and they chanced at moving to a new place. The good news is if you leave the U.S. forever, you can always undo forever. I gave myself the chance for years to come back, and I never wanted to. Finally gave up the citizenship, burned that bridge. But you don't have to in this modern age. Move somewhere else and never come back. But what I'd like you to admit to yourself is if you look back throughout the course of U.S. history, not a very good idea to trust any one politician. If you like Trump, you shouldn't trust Trump to save your life. You're going to save your life. If you don't like Trump, would Kamala have been any different? You have to take control. And what I realize is these reasons that we're going to talk about aren't going to go away just because one person got in power. So let's begin. The first thing that really upset me recently when this came across my news headlines was one about civil asset forfeiture. You've seen police across the United States for years. They pull people over. Someone's carrying cash. Maybe they're going to buy a car. Maybe they're doing some kind of deal. They take the cash and they file a big case. U.S. government versus $100,000 in cash. This is a cause that both libertarians, right-wing and left-wing people have gotten behind. Where even if you go to the bank depositing too much cash from your burrito shop, you might get a knock on the door from the U.S. government. And it got worse recently. They finally suspended a program, too little too late in my opinion, where plainclothes officers at the airport just followed you around, got on the plane with you, hey, I want to look at your bag. And when you said no, they'd take you off the plane, they detain your bag, and people were missing their flights. It was all illegal. And now it's stopped. But a country that can consistently get itself into trouble with FBI going to a private security box place. They're looking for one guy's stuff. They open up and take everyone's stuff. And it takes people years to fight the FBI and get their stuff. This is a country you're supposed to be free.
Oh my God, this is true. Is this true? Is this really true? Oh my God. That's too much power and too much problems. Oh my, I didn't know. Now I'm starting to understand why people always make fun of these entities. Oh my God. That's terrible. Jesus.
You're supposed to be able to keep your stuff, and so many issues with carrying cash, putting money in the bank, traveling. You don't have a lot of those privileges anymore. Let's go to number two. Some of these are things that people in the comments section have sent in. Qualified immunity. Sounds like kind of a left-wing kind of thing. Oh, the police shouldn't be able to do whatever the hell they want. Well, it's a libertarian thing. In the United States, the police can pretty much do whatever they want. I'm not saying the police are always wrong, but here's what I will tell you. I felt uncomfortable in the United States, certainly going to the airport. It is a police state at the airport, and I will tell you, pretty much every other airport in the world feels more comfortable than a U.S.
Yeah,
airport,
I
just in
agree
how
with
they
that.
talk to you, how they treat you, but just being out in public. In the rare, run-ins where you'd walk past the police, or the police would be driving around, it feels
I think airports, generally speaking, I mean, of course, some countries might be better, others worse, but airports, generally saying, they have too much power. It's an absolute power that they have in their hands. It's too. It's kind of terrifying. They literally limit what people can, if people can or cannot um, go to another country and etc. It's too much power. We don't have the freedom anymore to go whatever we want. We are all delimited, and from with a snap of fingers, I feel like they just can um, force us to just stay in our countries forever. Like, I don't know. I mean, you can try and cross like frontiers by walking or by car or whatever, but there's these ones that you can only cross by flying, and this is, I don't know. And all of this started with the main reason why they have all of this control is for drug trafficking and etc. But seems like this exact part is the part that doesn't work well, because they get you to travel with drugs to whatever whatever they want to, and they are doing this up to today. But we are limiting people freedom in many ways possible. Freedom from come and go and whatever, because they just have too much power. And the main reasons, the reasons that we should actually take care of, like bad people that can steal, can rob in your other country, or like trying to avoid the justice in that country by any means, and drug dealers and etc. These guys can do whatever they want. They can travel whatever they want to whatever they want, and they don't have problems. They don't face any problems. This is all for us. This is all burdens for us. It's like here in my country, I have problems with the I don't know. I'm not sure in the name in English. Car traffic. The police officers. They are not trying to find drug dealers or people that are robbers or murderers or etc. They stop people to try to actually, they target normal people trying to live their lives and come back from work after a hard day of work to try to apply some kinds of I forgot the name now. It's not taxes. I think you guys understood. They target us, normal people. They are not target people that are against law and etc. This pisses me off a lot. This happens a lot. Like, this is. I feel like they are only targeting us. For real. But let's get back to the topic. I'm sorry. I just lost myself here. And I couldn't even explain perfectly. I'm sorry for that. But I think you guys are here for that too, right? This kind of reasoning and etc. So let's go.
Comfortable in the U.S. I've come up with the concept of hard freedoms, which is what the U.S. claims to have. We have a constitution. I'll come back to that in a minute. We have these things written down. Don't often follow it. But soft freedom is, our culture is, we just don't screw with people. Why would I bother a guy for something? Yeah, he's not doing anything wrong, leave him alone. You don't have that soft freedom in the US. There is increasingly a presumption of you are guilty until proven innocent in all kinds of different matters. And I will tell you, it
Does this
feels a
still
lot more
exist?
uncomfortable dealing with the police in the US than anywhere else. I have great respect for the police, a lot of the places where I go and spend time, because they're pretty cool, they're pretty helpful. They actually go out of their way to help you and actually serve the community. You don't have that in the US anymore. Number 3 is some of the highest healthcare costs in the world, and I'll add to that some of the worst value in the world. Now you see, CEO, United Healthcare, shot and killed in New York. People are upset about this. And you know what's even worse? Add this to the reasons to leave if you're successful, is people are cheering for that. Good, they got him, they said. But let's talk about high healthcare costs. You're getting very low value for your money. We've told you for years.
Yeah, the majority
Some
are
counties
always
in
of
Texas
assholes.
are tying
There's
Somalia
nothing much we
for
can do
various
about
healthcare
it.
metrics like infant mortality, for example. Access to care in some of those places is not great. Now you can say, hey, what do I care? I live in Dallas, Texas. I don't live in some far-flung county. Well, if your country is such a successful, great first world country and the best country in the world, shouldn't everybody have access to good health care, even if they're willing to pay? And so you go to Singapore, you go to Colombia, you'll find in pretty much all corners of these countries that we
And
talk about, those are
Brazil.
just 2 that we talk about in kind of varying extremes, you'll find that pretty much everybody has access to the same quality of care. Now, there may be more private clinics. We have Nomad Campus Live, our 4-day event every year. It's in Kuala Lumpur. I've spent time there for over a decade. Prince Court Medical Center, one of the best places in the world. You just pay out of pocket, amazing care, amazingly efficient, amazingly affordable. It's one reason to come to Nomad Campus Live. You're going to have more of those clinics in a big city like Kuala Lumpur than in a small.
Well, depends on how you call it affordable. Because you come from I don't know how you made this math. I don't know how you did this math, but if you're getting money from you're getting dollars and going to a country with a weaker currency like Colombia. Of course, you're gonna pay. You can pay for all medical treatment you want. But actually, for example, in my country, for us that live here, this is so expensive. Okay, I censor myself saying the word. Do not have to censor editing. Oh God, this is so much expensive here. So much expensive. Medical care here is so much expensive. But hey, Mizuki, I heard that in your country, you guys have a treatment for free. Oh yeah, that works so much well. I'm not even gonna start to talk about that because I I fear that I might have some problems talking about that, so I will not to, because this is not the reason that I made a channel, even though I yap a lot to talk about my country a lot, because this is something that I just cannot hold to myself many times because it hurts a lot. I mean, I know, I'm very aware, I'm pretty much aware of the problems that you guys have in USA, but come on, when you come from a country like mine, it still looks like heaven, believe me. So you guys need to take care with these comparisons because they are affordable because you guys are maybe working you guys are working remotely and receiving a dollar like if you was in US or I don't know, and you travel to another country like mine or Colombia or Argentina or some country like that, of course you're gonna live so much well. Of course. But for the people that are living with their country currency, of course not. I mean, you guys should know that by this point, right? I mean, it's a very basic stuff. Yeah, let's go.
Smaller city, but in most of the countries that I spend time, quality of care is pretty equally distributed. Even in frontier markets like Cambodia, it wasn't 10 or 12 years ago, it's getting better.
No,
so
it's
if
not.
Cambodia and Somalia are beating parts of Texas, then it's really kind of hard to say that the country is the best. And I'm a capitalist, I'm a free market guy, but it's pretty ridiculous to say you're going to pay the kind of taxes that you pay, especially as a successful person where you're paying into the 40%.
I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting to see what he's gonna. Maybe he's gonna tell that Cuban doctors are awesome too, and they have a awesome healthcare system. It's all waiting for because it's the last the worst level possible. Someone can still talking about that. I mean, he's not totally wrong, of course not. But saying like poor countries like this that he's been talking about have good medical care systems, no, I highly doubt that. Okay, I really highly doubt that. Because even so, at least what I know with the little the little knowledge that this humble fox here has of the country itself, of the world itself. When we talk about Africa, and we have those many countries out there, I know some stuff about there, and this is not good. They still have a lot of different types of illness and sickness that they don't exist even in my country, and they are starting to import this sickness from Africa again here to my country. For example, I will not recall the latest one sick that came from there. But yeah, this happens so often. If the healthcare system was so good there, they wouldn't have this type of sickness and illness that are banished already for a long time ago, like some countries 50 or more years ago. For a lot of countries, they wouldn't have this kind of sickness anymore that they still have. I mean, this is just one of the reasons. I'm sorry if I'm not putting that explaining it that clearly. I'm sorry for that, but it's not that terrible too. But let's keep going.
And you will still be paying to the 40% under Trump, or very close to it, and getting nothing for it. At least in other countries, they get free healthcare, free university. Now, I'd rather pay lower taxes and not get the free stuff and pay for it, as I do. I left the United States and I live in a collection of other countries where my tax burden is very small.
Yeah, we have free stuff. We have. But we have many problems around that here. The people that really need this free stuff, usually doesn't get. And the people that don't want to work, don't want to anything with their lives, don't want to do anything to society at all, those people are the ones who can get these benefits. Usually, very much likely so. And we also have the problems like, it's not because it's free that it's good. They are awful, generally saying. And this costs so much in taxes. I mean, I know your taxes isn't that low, but compare it to my country. Come on, I don't know the ranking anymore because my country is always trying to be the top one in taxes in the world. I don't recall in my mind which number we are, but I'm pretty sure we are in the top 5. The countries in the world that has more taxes. Then I will use as an example. Try to think about very fast, very simple example. Try to think about any hardware piece that costs $1,000 in your country, okay? And consider that $1 is equal 6 BRL, which is the abbreviation of my currency here, which means Brazilian real. Okay, so $1, 6 BRL. You have $1,000, so you think, okay, so you gotta pay 6,000 BRL for the stuff you want, like 6 times more in your country. And the average month income here is like 1,500. I'm sorry. So it's like it costs like 4 months salary, 4 months money income, just to buy the piece of hardware. And of course, not spending with anything else like food and electricity, nothing. Just saving to buy that one piece of hardware. But no, it doesn't end there because we have a lot of taxes. So that one piece hardware that costs $1,000, it becomes like 10,000, 12,000 BRL here. So imagine how much time we have to work here and save money to, of course, considering the other expenses that you have to buy just a simple piece of software, huh? That usually I see a lot of people complaining that they are expensive, and you guys are right. If you let them, soon enough you will be paying for the same piece of hardware $2,000 that you are paying now. So you guys really need to complain and fight over it for real. But it's not even close what we pass here. So yeah, we pay tons, really tons and tons of taxes here. This is a huge problem. We cannot import anything from outside our country without paying at least the double the price, at least, very least. But it's usually more than that. Usually we just multiply versus 10. Like it's 1,000 there in US, you multiply versus 10, it's like 10,000 here in our currency. It's just like that. So it's just a comparison, just to see that what he's saying, he's saying everything by the eyes of a foreigner that's coming from the US to other country. I mean, I don't want to say that he's wrong. I know you guys, come on, I'm always seeing news and stuff that about a lot of things that are happening in USA. I know that you guys are facing a lot of problems, but the countries that they are comparing with, they are too terrible. They are just too terrible, and I know that. Okay, I'm not even comparing with mine. You can put Colombia and whatever. What other country he said? I forgot the others, but some African ones. No, it's not really like that. There is a lot of stuff for always for you to have one free benefit between codes. Huge, absolute codes here. For you to have one benefit, and you will have to fight a lot and play the victim in front of the government to try to get the benefits, because it's not guaranteed that you're gonna get. You have to pay so much taxes for this free stuff. I mean, it's not even worth. Believe me, trust me when I say that.
Small, when I need health care, I go to Prince Court and I just pay. But you don't get that choice in the US. You pay very high taxes and you get very poor health care response. Obscenely overpriced. I'm telling you, people came to Nomad Capitalist Live the last 2 years in Kuala Lumpur. We saw them at Prince Court. We literally sold out their executive health screenings for a couple of weeks around the event. So many of them came, and we heard stories. People said this would have cost me $10,000 in the US to get all these tests done. They paid $400 in Malaysia. UK trained doctors, very efficient, very affordable, smiles on the faces. They're getting pushed to the front of the line because it's the executive health screening. I mean, they paid for the whole trip to come to our event just by going there. Yeah, does that exist in some places in the US? I don't think.
Okay. After all that I mentioned up until now, I will not even mention that, okay? I will not even mention that. I could argue, I could talk a lot about this too, but I think I took already too much time. Just we're doing 8 minutes of videos, so I will avoid try to talk about stuff like that for a while, at least for a while. Let's see if I have something more to add up to this conversation, to this video later on.
Good, quite frankly, in most of them. But for the average person, healthcare is very expensive. There's no need for it to be that way, but it is. Number 4, you have the largest prison population, larger per capita than China. So for everyone talking about, oh, you know, China, they put everyone in prison. Well, the U.S. does more. Interesting thing as we watch the Biden administration wrap up. Biden's done this pivot.
I'm not sure about that, but
we got to go after the super predators
he
in
might
the
not be
90s
wrong.
and all the rules about putting people in jail for drug use. Commented the same thing. Now it's, should we pardon those people? Should we give them clemency? Well, a lot of bad policies in the U.S., I think, quite frankly, made pretty emotionally. You know, in these societies like the U.S., they just kind of go with the tide, and you know, the tide for some time.
I don't know if that's true, but at least it's what the mainstream media always try to make us believe. And mine is the perspective of an outsider, a foreigner. What mainstream media always try to show us is that about the few people that are condemned to death in the United States, most of them are innocent people. And I think their objective is very clear. So you guys will end up in future have fragile laws like mine that people barely got to stay on jail. That's very clear, but I don't know. I really see a lot of they really bombard us with a lot of cases of people, innocent people being condemned to death. That's terrible. That's way too different of just condemning someone to even to a life in prison, because later on, even 20, 30 years later, you can still fix it, and they can still have at least a bit of life outside with some money back from. Of course, the money doesn't fix the entire life that they lost, but at least they are still alive, and with some money to try to restart their lives outside. But when you condemn someone to death, and you realize that the person is, it wasn't his fault, he did nothing wrong, that's terrible. That's really, really terrible. I don't know how much of this is true, but it's something that the mainstream media bombards us here every time. Not only the mainstream media, but things like Netflix and the others. But of course, I always look at this with a grain of salt, but it's really something terrible. Really, really terrible. That's terrifying. Imagine that. Just imagine the injustice. It's so absurd. Come on. It's like I always have been telling you guys, I kind of lost faith in any type of law, for real. I'm not trying to start anything by that. It's just a personal opinion here. I lost faith in law, and I think this is one of their points. I think they want us to lose faith in law, lose faith in everything, and just kind of give up and just be their puppets. I don't know. I don't know what these guys are thinking, but they clearly have a plan. Some people deny it. Oh, this conspiracy and all, but no. Sorry for you guys that are looking now. I had to pause the I had to pause the recording and the video. I have a cockroach incident here, and oh god. Oh, I was fighting for my life. I hate cockroach so much. So much. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, let's continue. I don't even remember what I was talking. I don't even remember if I finished the sentence. I just know I paused here, everything, and try to fight for my life here.
Time now has been lock everybody up, and that they have. Quite frankly, I don't worry, about being in other countries. Aren't you afraid of political retribution if you say the wrong thing? No, a lot more worried about that in the United States, actually. I'll go to number 5, no free speech. Do you have free speech at some level? Sure you do. By the way, I live all over the world. I never really feel like I can't say
Yeah, we don't
certain
have. I don't think we have free speech in any culture anymore, any place. We don't have it. People who want us to think that, or just people is really stupid. I would say stupid instead of, you know what? Because I don't know. I'm trying to monetize my channel. Right, YouTube channel, please monetize it. I did nothing wrong. And I'm even trying to take care with even more with my voice because I already was used to take care. Haha, please monetize, okay? Okay, I need it. What I was saying again? Oh yeah, free speech. Yeah, free speech is. I don't feel like we have free speech anywhere. Or the person who say that if they are defending that we have free speech, is really stupid, or it's really a bad person trying to making you be the stupid, right? So yeah, free speech doesn't exist. A long time ago, it was taken by us. It was taken out of us little by little, and even in US, maybe you guys have a little bit more, but here, I'm risking myself a lot just by the little bits of information that I say about my country. I'm pretty sure I might end up in jail tomorrow. I don't know, but I just can't hold this inside my chest all the time. So sometimes I just speak out. But I really have to stop this. I don't want to. I don't want to spend my life in jail.
To the extent that I'm not criticizing the government of that country, it's because I'm pretty well distributed. I don't really need to go to other countries and criticize their governments. I go to the places where I like the governments, and if I don't like the way that their banks run, I don't bank there. I just live there. So I distribute myself. Imagine, Julian Assange is a journalist and reveals illegal activity, and somehow he's the criminal. But here's what came out in one of the court documents from his now settled case. In 2020, the U.S. prosecutor, Gordon Kromberg, told a British court, in trying to get Assange over to the U.S., that the U.S. could argue that foreign nationals are not entitled to protections under the First Amendment, at least as it concerns national defense information. And so they're setting the precedent for, oh, you're not really one of us. No. The Constitution was always about we're all equal under the law, and it wasn't always about citizens and society.
Yeah, but they started like that here too. They started exactly like that. They start to mess with the words in the law and trying to change their meaning, their signification, and then boom, after some years, the Constitution now doesn't mean anything. At least when they want to punish you. Then, even so, they even don't need that. They just do whatever they want and put you in your own jail, ignoring everything, even your rights of defense. That is, oh no, I should say that. No, not gonna say that. Not gonna say that. I'm sorry. I want to be free, okay?
So once you say that there's no free speech for a certain group of people for certain conditions, you open the door to say we don't have free speech. Listen, all the countries that Americans say I wouldn't live there. They don't have free speech. Yeah, you know what? There's certain things you can't say in the UAE. There's a smaller number of things you can't say in Singapore. Do I entirely, as a libertarian guy, agree with that? Not entirely. But I also look at the results. I look at a certain amount of social cohesion. I look at how people aren't at each other's throats in these places the way they are in the US. And I'm not saying the ends justify the means, but I'm saying if I'm comparing the US where they pretend to have free speech absolutism, but find all these little, loopholes whenever they can, yeah, I'll take the better result where they're at least honest about what they are. And quite frankly, again, libertarian, but pragmatically happy to say, am I going to Singapore where I have my wealth held and standing up and complaining about how things are run? No, that's the benefit of go where you're treated best. You choose the place you go where you're treated best rather than staying in the US because I'm afraid to go anywhere or I'm going down with the ship. Why not choose where you go the best? Why not choose where you're treated best? Someone else sent this one in, number 6, one of our viewers, fourth wave feminism. Now, you can take that as you want, but I will tell you this. When I go around the world, and when we have Westerners, not just Americans, but Westerners on our team, friends of mine, etc., when they come to the places that I spend time, largely in the emerging and non-Western world, they're like, where are the gender wars? Why don't men and women hate each other here? What's going on? I'm not saying that there aren't typical male-female disagreements, But the gender wars, we interviewed Christina Kahneman on this at Nomad Capitalist Live. You can watch that interview. There are places where, yeah, men like the women, women like the men, people just get along, and you don't have all the people at each other's throats in that way. And so you've seen this whole, collection of people who've decided.
Even though it's a matter of time, this is happening in the whole world. It's just a matter of time to the people, the countries that are not like that. It's just a matter of time to become like that. In that point, about feminism, my country is way worse than USA. I think I talked a lot about this in my channel already. People, my audience already is very aware of that. And I've been seeing a lot of risky stuff here. I don't want to risk more. I'm sorry.
We're not going to date in our own countries anymore. And so that's one way you can be diversified, is date somewhere else where you don't have disagreements with the culture. There's a lot of things that people culturally disagree with. We've had more people calling us in recent years, clients of ours saying, I never thought I'd call you. I liked the videos. You're an entertaining guy. I never thought I would call, but I don't recognize my own country anymore. And we're still getting that call from the smart ones who realize, okay, maybe they voted for Trump.
I never recognized mine to begin with.
But is that going to change the entire fabric of the culture? No, it's not. And so, a reason to leave is to say the U.S. culture is going in the wrong direction. One guy can get 49.8% of the vote and win, or whatever it was. Doesn't mean the other 50.2% are going to change what they believe in. Maybe they dig in more. And so I think all those kind of culture wars, I'd rather be in a place where there were never any culture wars or people at each other's throats to begin with.
Exactly, I agree with that. I agree with that.
And so number 7, social chaos. Here's a.
I want to enforce he's not entirely wrong. He's saying a lot of really basic stuff here, but he said some things wrong because of his perspective of and USA citizen. I'm sorry. So, but I have an entirely different perspective. For real. I will not. Make this even longer.
How can we fix things if we fight over identity, including what people do here, labeling people a coward or brave, instead of focusing on the actual issues? So if you're watching this and saying, well, this guy sounds like he should be more brave, he should have stayed in the U.S. and fixed this. How am I going to fix fourth wave feminism? How am I going to fix high healthcare costs? I mean, you saw what one guy did, and I absolutely do not agree with this. One guy said, here's how we fix healthcare costs. I'm going to shoot and kill the CEO of a healthcare company. That's how powerless people feel. One person's not going to, I'm not going to fix qualified immunity. I'm watching videos from civil asset forfeiture. They're harassing people on the planes for their bags. How am I going to fix that? By what? You see these guys in the Free State Project, they moved to New Hampshire, and what do they get pulled over? They get traffic tickets just so they can go to court and sing the opera for an hour? Ridiculous. Your life is more valuable than that. You have a real impact you can make. Your impact in life is fighting with judges in court to prove a point that everyone just thinks you're a nut? Why don't you just go where you're...
Judges are another huge problem that you guys are starting to notice now in USA. But here is an old problem already, a very old problem. Not gonna go in deep into that because I want to be free. I'm sorry.
Best. But this person says we have social chaos because we label people emotionally instead of focusing on the actual issues. He says it's like trying to repair a relationship when your partner is emotionally avoidant and can only issue ultimatums, technically ultimata, the plural of ultimatum, storm out of the room and give you the silent treatment. You can't fix anything with a person like that. How many people have had relationships where, yes, it is fiat by ultimata and storming out of the room and silent treatment? That is effectively what happens in the United States, and I see it. I'm in the belly of the beast. We talk about how to get out. A lot more people want to get out than ever before, but obviously you've still got a lot of people who it's emotional for them. They don't like it. They think it's unpatriotic. You're right. I am not patriotic to a country I'm not a citizen of and didn't want to be a citizen of in the first place. Social chaos is what happens when the country you're living in and the people there act like spoiled brats in toxic relationships. How do you fix that? You fix it the same way you fix the toxic relationship. You leave. Number 8, violent crime.
Based, I agree with that. That's the only solution for men and women. But usually we know that women are being the problem in majority. I mean, there's no denying that.
You should have stayed and fixed all the violent crime. One of the most violent countries in the world. We're starting to see that major U.S. cities are falling behind a number of South American cities. Now, yes, you've got Tijuana, Mexico, I think right now is one of the most dangerous cities in Latin America. Honduras is a country, the capital, and San Pedro Sula, been very dangerous. El Salvador, though, look at what El Salvador's done. El Salvador's outpacing the U.S. by far in fixing violent crime. You see now some of the people in the new Trump administration going down there.
Oh, yeah, it's the perfect example.
They like President Bukele in El Salvador.
It's on my list to go travel and try to
visit
visit
in
them.
El Salvador, in a small little country, where someone can come in and just be strong and fix it, than in the U.S. with all the bureaucracy and, of course, a much bigger country. You've got a big violent crime problem. Now, you can say, listen, where I live, I don't deal with that. Well, then for all the other reasons, where I live, I also don't deal with it. Except I don't have the other stuff where I live also. I can live in the best neighborhood in Bogota, Colombia, and I feel pretty safe. And yeah, they say don't wear your watch. Yeah, maybe sometimes you do wear your watch and you're still fine. Or you could just choose to go to safe places. We've shown you some of them in our Live Like a King series, from Malaysia to Oman, Armenia, very safe places where they don't have the same violent.
I don't think it has to do with the countryside for real. It's all about having very good laws, very solid laws, with no breach to be used against, and laws that have harsh and severe punishments for bad judges. As happen, but I better not go deep in this. I wanna be free, not gonna be end the rest of my life on jail, without any process and possibility of defense. Thank you.
Crime issue. You can send your kids to the store, and people still do. What I love about some of these places, particularly I've talked about this in Eastern Europe, people still open the back door and the kids run out and play. It seems like a vestige of a bygone era in the U.S. And when that crime comes, number 9, you got this very weird 2-tier justice system. Now, you're seeing in some of the big cities in the U.S., which you could say all solved by moving to the suburbs, no one gets convicted of crimes anymore. You get a little slap on the wrist. But let's talk about some of the stuff that I saw when Trump won. And you can say, oh, this is just some guy on social media. This is part of the zeitgeist. Here's a guy saying, I support a new law when Trump's in office that will close all leftist media as anti-American outlets. There's that freedom of speech for you. Those who work for and subscribe to and advertise in these leftist media will be prosecuted as anti-American terrorists. Send them to Guantanamo. Now, is this guy some kind of loon? Yes. Right. This guy's a loon who's emboldened. He's a part. I'm not saying it's the majority, but he is part of a group. His guy just won, and now he's emboldened to come out and say, yeah, if you're left-wing, you should be put in prison as a terrorist. Yeah, because that's not a slippery slope. You don't have to be a left-wing person to think that's a problem. Yes, of course, some people call that out, and some people agreed with it. And the idea that there aren't people out there. Okay, which number? Okay, we're getting to number 11, public education.
Okay, I cannot deny that. I better not say that. YouTube channel is looking for me. I want to monetize my channel. Yeah, I don't want to say that. I will be out of this one, okay?
Education failures. There it is right there. Not only do I think it's grammatically incorrect, but not only are people at each other's throats, not only is it anti-freedom of speech, the very thing that a guy like that would say,
freedom of speech, remember? Yeah, I don't have freedom of speech here too.
Left-wing media outlets from not being labeled as
That's
anti-American.
why I had my monetization request
I
denied.
think there is millions of people in the United States who think that the other side should be in prison as terrorists. I really believe that. I think there is a 2-tier justice system. Number 10, most corrupt country for the elites. Have you seen the guy in Congress who got a 238% return in just 1 year? I read a report on that, but prosecutions are rare. Right, because the elites protect the elites. I think that the problem with the U.S., if you're successful, the reason that CEOs get shot in the streets is because people's anger is misplaced. Now, Congress has an approval rating of like 2% or something, but the elites should be the people who were elected who are immune from prosecution. They're talking about the CEO who got shot. Oh, there's an investigation, there's some insider trading. Oh, okay. Hey, listen, if they would have found that out, I'm sure that guy would have gone to jail. And I'm not saying, I don't know what happened, but I'm just saying if something happened, I'm sure being a CEO won't save you. But being a member of Congress will save you. And yet if you're a business leader in the US, if you've got a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an investor, the average person doesn't like you. The same way they want to put the left-wing crazies in jail as terrorists, I'm sure there's plenty of folks that like to come after you. When I go to the Middle East, when I go to
Exactly. I wanted to talk about that, but by starting my line of thinking, I would have to say what I really think about that, and that's why I didn't want to talk about. But I would complete my thinking about that by saying that this would be used later against us too. I mean, you just open a whole breach to be used against us later, and we're gonna be thrown in jail. I mean, that's why it has to be neutral. But I really see no solution. This really, for me, it's just like a mental illness or something like that, a permanent mental illness. There's no cure for that. There's really no cure. People like that will never be fixed again. And it's really like a sickness. It spreads. And the person that gets it will never be recovered. I don't know. For real. It's... Oh... the only thing I can think of in these times is I want my meteor. I need my meteor.
Eastern Europe, when I go to Asia, people still respect success. They don't want to come after you. And they don't think that you're one of the elites just because you're an unconnected businessman. And yet, members of Congress can do insider trading and nobody stops them. It is a corrupt country, but only for the club that George Carlin says you and I are not in. Number 11, public education. U.S. placed 16th out of 81 countries in science. The IMD World Competitiveness Center reports they ranked 12th overall. So those numbers aren't terrible. But for my entire lifetime, the U.S. has been losing to Asia in the rankings. People in many school systems are graduating without knowing basic math, without knowing basic history. And then, of course, the issue now is they're teaching stuff that you may not approve of. If you're conservative...
Yeah. I reacted to a video like that, remember? Huh? It might be fresh in your minds yet. The guy doing math questions to people on the street. And the answer is yes. The video probably that had the most yes that I watched in my entire life. That was pretty fun. Even though I lost a little bit of my soul watching that. Yeah, and a little bit of faith in humanity. I did my meteor.
Maybe Trump gets rid of some of that, but here's the reality in a federalist system. The states are going to do what they want to do. And by the way, let's go the other side. As a libertarian, I don't want the 10 Commandments in front of my school either. So, most countries can play education pretty straight down the line. Here's some of the big ones, though. How's a $36 trillion debt, and you're adding $1 trillion every 100 days or so? Here's the quote: the U.S. national debt cannot be repaid. Again, I don't see Trump solving that. They're going to cut $2 trillion from the budget. How are they going to do that while increasing the military? You could just end Social Security and keep everyone's money and admit it's a Ponzi scheme. I guess you could do that. The public indebtedness is not going to go away. The same Donald Trump, by the way, who in 1999, when I followed him, said we should have a one-time 14% tax on everybody rich.
Oh, come on. We know that if they really wanted... I mean, not just him, but everyone involved. All the machine... They could pay that. We know that. That is possible. Every debt is possible to be paid like that. It is. The thing is that they don't want. They want inflation every year, so we lose more and more power. Things become more and more expensive. Your money value less and less. And that's why they are so angry against Bitcoin, for example. That's why they are so furious about that. That's why governments hate it. It's not just about freedom. It's about protecting your money from inflation. Not only inflation, like... oh, God. I feel like explaining grass is green versus grass is purple again. Oh my God.
To pay off the national debt. Since then, of course, it's become pretty much impossible to do. Number 13, the government spies on you.
Simple saying, they want us to lose power. They want us to be jailed. Like, I don't know. Like if you were some kind of calls in a big huge farm being milked for the entire existence, and in the end being killed to eat your flesh, just like that.
Edward Snowden, there's talk of a pardon for him. He says law enforcement is spying on thousands of Americans' mail, and you've seen that, how they scan your mail, how they listen to your phone calls, how they go and get into your bags at the airport, and they force you to do that in violation of the Fourth Amendment. And for all that, number 14, it costs $4.5 million, $4.4 million over a lifetime now to live the American dream. How many Americans will make that? Not many. That's why they're so angry. They want to lock up their opponents and they want to shoot them in the leg and kill them. And so number 15, for all that talk of a constitution,
and that's what
I
they're gonna
introduced the concept of hard freedom versus soft freedom over the years. Yeah, I'm sure there's places where I've lived all around the world that many Americans would sniff at, where they don't have the most robust constitution. But guess what? If the country's small, if they never had tons of power, if they never ruled the world as an empire, then and they just don't care to, then culturally speaking, there's going to be a softer touch. One guy told me in Latin America, yeah, I just feel better here. And feelings only go so far, but you can feel when things are oppressive. You can feel when the government has overreach. And you can go to
yeah. You don't need to be the smartest person out there with a huge IQ like Einstein, for example. You just need to have that that average person with two brain cells, two neurons inside your head, and use your gut feeling, and just feel your surroundings, and you're gonna see like it's actually kind of fun what I'm gonna say right now, but I feel oppressed in this country every single day of my life for countless years already. Probably by my entire existence since I noticed it, what the problem was, like while I was already a teenager. I'm sounding like an old hag. I'm not. I'm in my 20s, but anyway, oh my God.
The government's just like, we can't handle everybody, so just kind of do what you want. Right? We'll provide the basic services. Very libertarian. And so the idea that the Constitution is going to protect you, they violate the Fourth Amendment. This guy up here wants to violate the First Amendment. All the amendments basically get violated. I mean, the Constitution is a piece of paper. They trample on it every day. And so one guy said that he lives in China.
Yeah,
the streets are clean,
that's when
the cities are
it's being
safe,
used
excellent
to
public
against you.
infrastructure, rising living standards, great food, but a distinct lack of political freedoms. Boo-hoo-hoo, he says. I don't get to vote every 4 years between corrupt jerk number 1 and corrupt jerk number 2. Somehow I can live without that cosmetic freedom. Now, let's refrain from the if you don't like it, move to China. No thanks. I don't entirely agree with him, other than yes, for all the taxes you pay in China, you do get cleaner streets, safer cities, better infrastructure, and yes, the living standards are rising, as are the life expectancies. In the U.S., it is the one Western country life expectancies are.
What about the huge fog that you breathe every single day there? Huh? I don't think that is cool. I'm sorry. I don't even hear in my culture. Damn.
We've talked about that for years. Health is in the toilet. And so the idea that China has to be the place, no. Go where you're treated best, not go where you're treated better. But there are these reasons and more. If you have one, leave a comment below. But it's go where you're treated best. You don't have to go to China to leave the U.S. You can go to Malaysia, and sure, they may not have the robust First Amendment that the U.S. does. I have nothing to complain about in Malaysia. And I don't have the same problems that he talks about in China, but I do have cleaner streets, good infrastructure, very good food. He also mentions that. You can choose the place for you that works. And yet, voting's not going to change it. You can be happy when your guy wins, but it wasn't you who did that. And so I think that the challenge going forward, if you have a U.S. passport, if you live in the U.S., as BRICS and other regional alliances grow, they're tired of being told what to do, and your business will be impacted, even if you don't directly deal with international clients. I bet your business deals with someone who deals with international clients, even if your job isn't for a foreign company. I bet they get part of their revenue from foreign companies. The world's pretty connected these days, and pissing off half the world's population, probably the best thing to do. It seems like that's the path the US will continue to go down. And so for me, I've said for years, I'd rather be St. Lucian as I am than American, because that will allow me to do business wherever I want in the world much better. And I want to do business around the world because for these aforementioned 15 reasons and far more, not to mention the taxes, not to mention many other things, I found it's much better to leave the US forever. And I think if you did too, you could find a place, as our clients have, from the dozens of tax-friendly, more free countries around the world that you'd feel comfortable in. We'd love to have you as a client at nomadcapitalist.com/apply. We'd love for you to come and join us at Nomad Capitalist Live in Kuala Lumpur and see just how much better it can be overseas. Go to nomadcapitalist.com/live and add your reason to leave forever below. This is Oman, and today we're showing you luxury living in its beautiful capital city of Muscat.
I will show the ADS.
Now we're going to show you one of the sexiest luxury villas here in Oman.
Very nice.
We're going to show you how to live like a king.
Very good footage. So yeah, the guy is very based. Thank you so much, Guardian of the Rune, for recommending me this video and this channel. I subscribed to it. I never heard of it. He's probably not gonna watch my video, of course, but if so, I wanna let him know that he's pretty much writing like 90% of the stuff he said. I agree with that. And I hope you guys enjoyed as I did. I said a lot of stuff that I shouldn't. Oh God, God forbid me, forgive me. God forgive me, and don't let them put me on jail for this. I really need to stop saying stuff like that, but I just feel like I have to take that out of my chest. I just can't hold that. When this feeling comes, I just need to vomit it outside, you understand? And this is the feeling that I feel. So thank everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my links in the description below. Discord, for example, and Patreon. Become a Patreon member for just $5 a month. Helps me a lot. YouTube is not accepting my monetization request. So please help this humble fox right here, okay? Before we go any further, I want to take this brief moment here to thank you all my patrons that support my work here on YouTube, and especially my three-tailed fox tier members, Heath Rowell and Fenny Sylvy, for the incredible support to my work. You guys are amazing. You can support this channel life and growth with just $5 a month and gain access to many perks. This is less than a burrito. Check out my Patreon. Link is in the description below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.